So, what do we need to know about my first book? Balzac Reframed: The Classical and Modern Faces of Éric Rohmer and Jacques Rivette. This book cover is certainly a bit enigmatic because we only see the statue that is in the cemetery of Père Lachaise, the statue of Balzac. So where are Rohmer and Rivette, and what's their relationship to him? Why is classicism and modernism also mentioned in the subtitle? Well, let's answer very quickly those questions. Because Honoré de Balzac is the most prolific writer of French literary realism in the 19th century, people might think, well, he's not very avant-garde, there's way more modern than him, especially in the period in which Éric Rohmer and Jacques Rivette were filming, where existentialism, Jean-Paul Sartre, was one of the most prominent figures in philosophical and literary landscapes. So, why Balzac? Well, there are still ongoing debates about who was really Balzac. He was certainly a conservative, he was a monarchist, but at the same time, his project was monumentally revolutionary. So there is a big interrogation mark on, his legacy. Is it classical? Is it modern? What do we make of it? And I believe that in the French New Wave, there have been many misconceptions. People think that because their films were mainly released in this very political context of the 60s, and because they were independent filmmakers, they were on the left side. They were existentialists, they were revolutionary. This book is actually putting into question those statements and giving an alternative reading to Jacques Rivette and Éric Rohmer's legacy. In this overwhelming context of 2020, where historical, literary, artistic figures are being critically reassessed, sometimes even censored, with the same fervor as in 1968, I believe it is important or even necessary to reread past authors without rejecting them blindly. What I have learned from Balzac and the French New Wave is that any progressist or revolutionary movement is somewhat attached to tradition, whether we accept it or not. I think we must acknowledge the complexity and nuances of each author without fear. In the same way, we hope we will be accepted in all our contradiction and humanness. I remember someone once told me, "Are you still reading Balzac? Aren't you tired? Why don't you just read something a bit more contemporary, more modern?" And I answered, well, Balzac gave us his entire life. He wrote more than 90 works in 20 years? So I think I owe it to him to dig a little bit deeper. So my name is Zara Tavasolizea. I have tried to very, very briefly cover the reason why this book is worth reading. But if you have any other question, do not hesitate to reach me through the comments, social media, or even email. I will be very happy to help and to answer. So thank you for watching this.